Welcome to Bad Blizzard. For something that actually started like a joke, grew and escalated into something. From there, it became something worse. It became entire body pain. It became joint pain all over my body. It became dizziness. It became tiredness. It became weakness. It became body pain. It became all manner of things that I cannot even think of. Bloatiness. It became malaria. It became fever until eventually I ended up in the hospital. All my life, I have never worked any job more than 2 months because the moment I start working, the pain comes back, the constraint comes back. Until I encountered God and the fire altar. So now let me tell you something that you do not know about the fire altar. This is the pressure and the energy of the altar of fire. It's a kind of fire that doesn't just burn, it reveals. This fire is not here to destroy you, but exposes everything in you that was never meant to survive. And most people, they want the light of God, but they run from the heat of his altar. My healing didn't start in comfort. It didn't start when everything made sense. It started under pressure. Because the moment you feel like enough is enough, you've had enough of the medication, enough of the treatment, enough of visiting different hospitals because of shame of always coming back, because of shame of stigmatization, because of the shame of stigmatization, because of the shame of knowing fully well that people will know you for a certain thing, always going back for that massage, always going back for that physiotherapy, always going back for that refill of medication that has finished. My healing didn't start in comfort. It didn't start when everything made sense. It started when I had enough of it. It started under pressure. The kind of pressure that forces you to confront yourself. The kind of pressure that breaks pride and stripes egos. It started when I've had enough. When I've come to the realization that my life was never like this. Something that started like a joke and I didn't take seriously. All of a sudden, it has become a bondage that has kept me in captivity for my life just took a downturn. That was that moment I realized that I've become a shadow of myself. Now, pressure kicked in. Servicing negativity with my money all the time, even when I didn't have enough to barely get by. Even when I had just about enough to barely get by. It started under pressure. The kind of pressure that forces you to confront yourself. The kind of pressure that breaks pride, stripes egos, and silence every lie you've been hiding behind. Because the altar of God is not a stage, it's a place of surrender. The fire of God meets your life and begins to consume every shaft, everything that is not of God in your life. When you're committed and you're surrendered completely to God. This fire does not burn you, but it burns the fear, the anxiety, the circles, the sickness that had a name, but no longer had permission. I didn't just encounter God, I encountered his fire. And that fire carried an energy and intensity that wouldn't let me stay the same. There were days I felt like I was breaking, days I couldn't explain that what was happening to me, days my body was weak but my spirit was being awakened, because healing is not always gentle. Sometimes healing feels like pressure, sometimes it feels like being stretched, being emptied, being undone. But what I didn't realize was I wasn't being destroyed, I was being refined. The altar of fire doesn't negotiate with darkness, it doesn't coexist with bondage. When it comes, chains break, fear loses its voice, sickness loses its grip, not because of who I am, but because of who Jesus is. Not because of my love for Christ, but because God first loved me and he chose me. And it doesn't matter who you are, whether you believe or you don't, whether you're strong or barely holding on. The fire of the altar of God is not just here to condemn you, it's here to free you. But freedom has a cost. It requires surrender. It requires you to step into the altar of fire and say, God, even if it hurts, I choose transformation and I choose surrender, because the pressure of the altar of fire is producing something in me. It strengthens you in ways you can never think of or imagine. Strength you didn't know you had. Faith you didn't know was possible. A version of you you didn't know ever existed. Sometimes you do not know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. That is no longer there. It produces a version of you that is no longer bound by fear, sin, sickness, disappointment, or disaster. The fire is not against you, it's working for you. So if you're in that place right now, where everything feels intense, where life feels heavy, where you don't understand what God is doing, don't run from the fire. Stay on the altar. Because what feels like pressure is actually the presence of God rewriting your story. Because what God cannot do truly does not exist. And when the fire is done, you won't just be healed, you will be transformed and made whole. Welcome to the fire altar. And this is Bad Blizzard. Stay tuned with us. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow us on all social media platforms, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.